Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 8 of What If Naruto Was Madara's grandson. If you guys enjoy this what if, and want to see part 9 of it, comment down below and let me know. Also check out previous parts of this what if. I have created a playlist for this what if, where you can find all the previous parts, link is in the description. And go ahead, and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, and like this video, and share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. You ready for your match, Hinata? Naruto asked. Of course, she replied, kissing him much to the jealousy of the other females who were now interested in said blonde. Who does she think she is? Naruto-kun will be mine. Naruto-kun. Looks like you got some competition, Naruto said, chuckling while holding her. Let them come. I'll juke their butts to the ground, Hinata said it loud enough so they could hear her. No one would take her, Naruto-kun, away. You know I'm kidding. You're the only one for me, Naruto said, squeezing the life out of her. All the newly created fangirl club said. How are your chakra levels? Naruto asked Hinata. I'm about full, I didn't spend much against Neji, Hinata replied. She sensed her chakra levels, and estimated she was about 99% full, since she didn't use any heavy chakra demanding jutsu besides Takaten, and that was only momentarily. Good, Naruto said and leaned forward, and whispered to her, here, try to end the battle quickly. You can't waste much chakra since you know what will happen. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, I have soldier pills, if need be, she replied, and he nodded. Naruto never really ran out of chakra because if he did, Kurama would simply replenish him, and he would be back on his feet. It was one of the reasons Hinata was able to train with him all day long during the early days. Thanks to Kurama, he would simply replenish Hinata's reserves so she could go on. In time her chakra reserves increase, and she no longer needed that to keep up with Naruto. Are you ready, kitten? Naruto asked Yujito in a mocking tone. Shut up, Whiskers, she replied, and he laughed. Hey, I have a question. Yujito asked. Shoot, Naruto said. Why did you hide your Sharingan and powers? Yujito asked, not understanding. Jinchuriki were treated badly no matter where they grew up. She didn't understand why he would hide his strength and be mocked even more. Actually, it's very simple. Most of the civilians treat me as a demon, and tried to hurt and kill me on several occasions, Naruto said, and got gasps from his fellow classmates. What do you think they would if they saw me as a smart demon? Naruto asked rhetorically. Yujito nodded, knowing very well what life was like. She wasn't physically abused in Kumo, but the glares and words of hate were always there. Her dream was to become like her big brother Killer Bee. Killer Bee is treated as a hero by their people, and they all know he's a Jinchuriki. I guess she just needs to prove her worth to them. About the Sharingan, I never really had a choice. I awakened it when I was 5, so I could have gone to the Uchiha clan, however they would have treated me as a weapon, and used me for their personal goals. And after the Uchiha massacre, if I came forward with the Sharingan, they would think I killed the Uchihas and stole their eyes from me, Naruto explained. I guess, Yujito said, trailing off. People are blinded by their hate, but one day we shall rise above that, Naruto said with a small smile, as he inspired another soul into the right path. No offense, little kitten, Zabuza said, making Yujito's eye twitch in annoyance and Naruto stifle a chuckle. But Hinata, he said, looking at her, you better win this as I have money waiting on you, Zabuza said, making her raise an eyebrow. Desu, whom else have you placed bets? Naruto asked. Desu and Hinata, since I know very well these wet behind the ears Genin don't stand a chance against you, Zabuza said, laughing, while counting a pack of bills in his hands. I take offense to that, Yujito replied, but Zabuza shrugged her off. How are the odds for the next matches? Naruto asked. We are still on break so they might change, but I guess they were impressed with both of you. Yujito and Hinata both have equal odds since Hinata defeated the Hyuga prodigy and you, Zabuza said, pointing to Naruto, have slightly lower odds against Gar since he's hailed as undefeatable, and he's son of the 4th Kazekage, Zabuza said. Ironic, Naruto muttered. Gar and me, we are both Jinchurikis and both sons of the 4th Hokage of our villages, Naruto thought. What? Zabuza asked, not getting what Naruto said. Nothing, Naruto replied, but Hinata got the meaning from that single word. By the way, Naruto, Ino said, getting his attention. Who was your father? Ino asked as if it was a normal question. Maybe Naruto would have stiffened at such random question, but not anymore. One day I will tell you, but not today, Naruto said. Why not? Ino asked, whining. Because my father was a very powerful man and had many enemies that I would like to keep away for now, but one day, I will take my family name, Naruto said, smiling. You will take the Uchiha name? Ino asked. No, I don't want to be mixed up with them. I may have Uchiha blood and respect my grandfather, but I won't take that name, Naruto replied. Why not? The Uchihas are respected and feared everywhere, even though there's only Sasuke left, and Ino said. Because I never liked their attitude, to put it simply. The Uchihas were feared true, but they were also known for their arrogance and willingness to do anything for power, Naruto said. When I choose my clan name, it will either be my father's name or my mother's name, Naruto explained. Wait, you mean Uzumaki isn't your real name? Ino asked, not believing her ears. Yes, my real clan name was hidden to protect me, so I was named after my great-grandmother who was an Uzumaki, Naruto replied. He really did have one hell of a lineage. Wow, Ino said. They must have been great people, Ino said in awe. The Sandaime did so much to hide Naruto's true family, so they must have been very important and strong. They were, Naruto replied in a low voice. He wondered what would have been like to grow up with his parents. Having breakfast with them when he woke up, having them buy him raiment, walking with them through the streets, being tucked into bed, and making them proud of him. Enough with the depressing mood, if you keep this up you might start brooding like the Uchiha Zabuza said, making Naruto snap from his thoughts and laugh. The break is now over, we will now start round 2 of the Chunin's exams. Finals, Hayate yelled from the arena. The crowd quieted down and focused on the proctor. Naruto and Hyuga Hinata, please make your way to the arena, Hayate called out. Good luck, Naruto said and pecked her cheek. Do I get good luck as well? Yujito asked in a teasing tone. Nope, Naruto simply replied, making Yujito's sweat drop. Add whiskers, she replied, and both of them made their way to the arena to begin their match. Kage box. Up in the Kage box the cages were making small talk while they waited for the round 2 to begin. So Kazukage started. Who do you think will win the next match? The Kazukage asked, trying to sound interested when he really wanted to see Naruto match against Scar. My girl, of course, the Raikage said quickly. The Hokage chuckled but replied, I have faith in Hinata-chan. What about you, Kazukage Dono? The Hokage asked. I have to agree with the Raikage. She might be good, but Yujito is a Jinchuriki who can use her Biju. Even though the Hyuga girl seems to have elemental advantage, that won't help her if Yujito uses her Biju, the Kazukage explained his point of view. We will see, the Hokage said. They kept talking when an Anbu appeared in the Kage box trough Shunshin and went to whisper in the Hokage's ear. How is everything? The Hokage asked. Everything is prepared. The clan heads are prepared and will rendezvous at their compound to organize their forces. The defensive seals are ready, and Chunin were assigned to power them up, and there were already shinobi ready to evacuate the civilians, Hokage-sama, the Anbu said, and the Hokage nodded. Everything alright, Hokage Dono? The Raikage asked. It was just a report on Hyuga Neji, Fuu and Uchiha Sasuke. They're all awake, but recovering from their matches, the Hokage replied smoothly. He didn't tell the Raikage about the incoming invasion, because he didn't know which side he would take, and that could prove catastrophic. Looks like the match is about to begin, the Hokage said, and they focused their attention in the arena. Yujito versus Hyuga Hinata, both fighters ready? Hayate asked and they both nodded. Begin, Hayate called out and jumped back. Be careful, kitten. She might look weak, but I sense she isn't Nibi set, and Yujito nodded. They both dashed towards each other and started exchanging attacks. Hinata quickly found out that Yujito's abnormal flexibility allowed her to dodge her Juken strikes rather well. Yujito ran towards her and jumped in the air and performed a drop kick. Hinata placed her arms above her head in an X formation and blocked the kick. Hinata quickly grabbed her foot and slammed her to the ground and jumped back to give Yujito some space. Yujito easily got up and brushed the dirt of her clothes before dashing once again towards Hinata. Hinata fell into her defensive stance as Yujito approached her and started to attack. Yujito channeled Nibi's chakra to her fingernails and hands and feet, and they elongated a couple inches, turning them into very sharp weapons like senbones. Yujito tried a horizontal slash, but Hinata couldn't dodge in time with her gravity seals activated and was forced to perform a Kaiten to block the attack. Yujito, seeing the Kaiten, jumped back. Hinata channeled chakra to her storage seals, and her daggers proved to life. They were like Asuma's trench knives made of conductive chakra metal with 7 inches long one-sided blade. Hinata quickly channeled wind chakra through them and rushed Yujito. They both exchanged blows, but Hinata's chakra-enhanced blades quickly chopped through Yujito's fingernails like hot knife through butter. Yujito picked up a kunai and channeled lightning chakra through them, but they were also overpowered by Hinata's wind chakra, leaving Yujito without choice but to dodge the swings. Yujito flipped back and tried to kick Hinata's chin, but Hinata jumped up and back-flipped, landing graciously in her feet a couple of feet away from Yujito. Hinata saw that she clearly had the advantage with weapons, since Yujito couldn't block Hinata's daggers with anything. Hinata quickly sealed the daggers back in her seals and took her Juken stance. Yujito dashed towards her and tried a right hook. Hinata sidestepped it, and quickly and graciously she closed all of Yujito's chakra points of her right arm, making it completely limp. Feeling her right arm completely useless, Yujito jumped back to gain some distance. Damn, I really can't engage in taijutsu against Hyuga's, Yujito thought. Normally after seeing this, Hinata would ask for her to surrender, but she knew her Juken was pretty much useless against a Jinchuriki. Don't think you won just because of this, Yujito said, smirking even after her having a useless arm. I know you can open your chakra points again by channeling Nibi's chakra, but it still is very painful, Hinata explained as she watched with her Byakugan red chakra flutter right arm and forcefully open the chakra points. Yujito winced and flexed her arm to get rid of the stiffness and numb the pain. She quickly forgot taijutsu and decided to focus solely on ninjutsu, because her being a Jinchuriki made genjutsu pretty difficult for her to learn. She envied Naruto in secret due to his Sharingan, being able to cast illusions very easily. Fire style, great fireball jutsu, Yujiro called out, and sent a medium fireball towards Hinata. Hinata easily jumped to the side to avoid them, and flashed through hand seals and said water style, water bullet. Hinata sent multiple small water bullets towards Yujiro, who managed to avoid them all. Water style, great exploding water wave. Hinata pumped her chest full of chakra, and expelled a giant wave of water. Hinata rose from the ground from the amount of water being released, and rode the wave that came crashing on Yujiro, leaving the poor cat drenched. I told her to preserve chakra, and she pulls an S-rank jutsu, Naruto said, shaking his head. I guess I'll refill her when she comes back, Naruto thought. Hinata took a deep breath to regain her breathing after changing the battlefield to her advantage. Both Yujiro and Hinata eyed each other, and they stood above the water that was a couple inches high, and covered the entire arena ground. Hinata decided to break the tension, and began with water shuriken jutsu. Hinata said, and the water rose in the air, and took the form of shurikens who gained speed, and went towards Yujiro, who blocked all of them with a kunai. I'll give her something she can't block, Hinata thought before going through hand seals and saying 1,000 flying water needles of death, and sent 1,000 water sen bones towards Yujiro, who couldn't dodge all of them all. Fire style, flames vortex, Yujiro called out, and fire started spinning in front of her, suddenly exploding towards the incoming sen bone, completely vaporizing them. Fire style, gray blue fireball jutsu, Yujiro called out, and using Nibi's chakra, sent a massive fireball towards Hinata. It couldn't dodge in time. Water style, water wall, Hinata called out and enveloped herself in water to block the fireball. The blue fireball collided with the water wall, and erupted a cloud of steam that covered the center of the arena, blocking the vision of the crowd. I can't compete in ninjutsu against a Jinchuriki. I'm only stalling this match, Hinata thought as the cloud of steam began to disperse, and showed Hinata unharmed and Yujiro facing her a couple of feet away. Hinata suddenly came up with the perfect plan. She placed her right arm making half tiger sign, while holding her left arm vertically. Hidden mist jutsu, Hinata called out, and the entire arena was covered in a mist that blocked the vision of everyone. Hinata could see rather well due to her Byakugan, and Yujiro being a Jinchuriki, she was like a candle during the night. Hinata knew this jutsu from the training she did in Suiten Jutsus with Zabuza. This can be good, Yujiro said to herself as she tried to relax her senses and find where her adversary was. Damn, I can't sense her anywhere, Yujiro thought as she tried to feel anyone around her, but she could only sense the proctor. She saw a small shimmer of light, before jumping to the right and avoiding a volley of shurikens that were thrown by Hinata. The shurikens were concealed by the mist, and even Yujiro with enhanced senses couldn't hear or see them. What do I do to clear this mist? Yujiro wondered when she felt a very sharp pain from her shoulders and legs. She looked at her body and saw 4 sen bones sticking out. Where did that come from? Yujiro thought until a realization hit her. The shurikens were only a distraction. I need to find her soon, Yujiro thought, wrecking her brains out to find some strategy to counter this mist. She was thinking, but she was started to feel very weak and sleepy. She removed the sen bone from her shoulder and smelled the tip, detecting a faint metallic smell. Poison, Yujiro concluded. Maybe I've been poisoned, Yujiro said to her partner. Already on it, it looks like a sleeping poison, but it seems highly potent, and she hit a blood vessel with those sen bones, injecting it directly into the bloodstream. Those eyes are very dangerous in the middle of this mist. You need to find a way out of this, Nibi replied as she powered a bit of her chakra into Yujiro to flush out the drug. I know, but what can I do? I'm not a Futon user, so I can't clear the mist, Yujiro thought. They were both trying to find ways to take away Hinata's advantage. To be able to use the Juken, one needs a very good chakra control, which can be applied to stealth by suppressing your own chakra signature. Yujiro sensed a presence behind her, and extending her nails she quickly ducked, and turned around, slashing trough Hinata's chest until she dispelled into water. Water clone? Yujiro asked, surprised by that, and turned just in time to see Hinata speeding towards her through the mist. 8 trigrams, 128 palms, Hinata called out as she got in her stance. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms, 128 palms, Hinata finally said, and Yujiro was thrown backwards, coughing with half of her chakra network closed. Normally this would have been enough to knock out anyone, but not a Jinchuriki. Damn, Yujiro said in her mind as she was having trouble breathing. I told you to be careful, Nibi said. Yeah, just give me chakra so I can win this, Yujiro said. If it wasn't for me, you would already have lost, Nibi flatly said, but gave her the chakra anyway. Yujiro was enveloped in a red chakra cloak with 2 tails swinging in the back. Yujiro let out a roar that completely cleared the mist, showing everyone Yujiro in all 4 with blue slided eyes and her nails elongated. She was covered in a red chakra cloak with 2 tails swinging. Yujiro seemingly disappeared from view, but Hinata could easily track her thanks to the Byakugan. She blocked a stray punch from her and quickly deactivated her gravity seals, so she could match Yujiro's newfound speed. I need to use it, and end this, Hinata thought as she prepared to permanently end this fight. They were both still engaged in a taijutsu fight at high speeds when Hinata went for a leg sweep, making Yujiro jump up. Hinata seeing Yujiro in the air and unable to properly maneuver, she quickly rose up. With her Byakugan she found where Yujito's seal was placed in her body, and it was in the stomach like Naruto. She channeled chakra to her fingers until they started glowing and showing kanji in them. 5-element seal, Hinata called out, and slammed her right hand on Yujiro, applying a 5-element suppression seal above Yujito's main seal, completely cutting off her access to the Nibi's chakra. Yujiro, I've been Nibi, tried to say but couldn't as she was completely cut off from Yujiro, making her lose the cloak. Hinata took advantage of Yujiro's weakened state from forcibly loosing the chakra cloak, and got into her stance and said, 8 trigrams 361 palms, and started attacking her chakra points, since she couldn't open them now. 2 palms. 4 palms. 8 palms. 16 palms. 32 palms. 64 palms. 128 palms. 256 palms. 361 palms. Hinata said and finished her attack, completely closing Yujiro's chakra network, making her fall to the ground unconscious. Hinata took a few deep breaths, and raised her head towards the proctor. Winner by knockout, Hyuga Hinata, Haite called out, and Hinata started making her way towards the crowd, slowly regaining her breath. With crowd, would you look at that? Kakashi said as he watched Hinata place a 5-element seal to disable her Biju and win the match. What did she do? Sakura asked, obviously not knowing what happened. She placed a seal over Yujiro's main one to block her ability to use the Nibi's chakra, Kakashi explained. Wow, Sakura said. She and everyone else were in awe as they watched a Genin win against a Jinchuriki using its Biju. Obviously, it wasn't full power, otherwise Hinata wouldn't stand a chance with that particular seal. I guess Naruto must have taught her, since he knew she might be facing a Jinchuriki since there were 4 in the exam, Kakashi said, looking towards Naruto, who nodded. Hinata finally made her way up to the stands and joined her friends and senseis. That was awesome, Hinata, you kicked her ass, Kiba yelled. Thanks Kiba, Hinata replied, and then looked at Naruto, who knew what was coming. So, you need a refill, right? Naruto asked. Yes, my chakra levels are slightly above half, Hinata asked. Naruto switched with Kurama. His eyes became blood red and slided, his whiskers marks more pronounced, and his fangs increased in length and sharpness. You know what to do, Kurama said, and Naruto picked her hand, and held her, while Kurama transferred chakra to her. It was a matter of seconds before Hinata was back to full. Is that? Ino asked fearfully. That voice wasn't Naruto. The Kyuubi, he was refilling Hinata's chakra reserves for her next fight, Naruto explained. He can use your body? Sakura asked. Well, he's inside of me, so we can switch anytime I want, Naruto asked, and Sakura gulped dryly. Scary, Sakura said, shivering from the thought. By the way, Naruto-kun, I think I need another taijutsu style besides the Jukin, Hinata said. What brought this up? Naruto asked. My match against Yujiro. My Jukin was pretty much useless until I disabled her Biju chakra, and my taijutsu style is again useless if the enemy can form some protective shell around their bodies. I need something that gives real damage like the Goken, Strong Fist, but I will have to train my strength, Hinata explained. Careful with what you say, Naruto whispered to her. Why? Hinata asked, not understanding. If you announce that the Jukin style is flawed, Hiashi might haunt your dreams, Naruto said, trying not to laugh. That's true, Hinata laughing. I'm just picturing his stoic face hanging in the air like a ghost, she said, making him chuckle. All kidding aside, I think I know what you want. We will talk about it after the exams, Naruto explained, and she nodded. I'm up against Gar next, Naruto said. I'll enjoy spilling your blood, Uchiha Gar with a twisted smile that made his brother step away from him. You only care about killing, Naruto said, shaking his head. I will prove you wrong, when we face each other, Naruto said. I will be waiting to prove my existence, Gar emotionlessly said. Kage box. I didn't expect that, the Raikage said when he watched Hinata seal Yujiro's Biju chakra. Naruto is talented with seals, so he must have taught her, the Hokage said. I suppose, the Raikage said, ashamed that none of his Genins would win the Chunin exams. Not that it would even reach the finals, but he didn't know that. You have talented Genins this year, Hokage Dono, the Kazukage said. Yes, but you do as well. We both have 2 Genins each competing in the semi-finals, the Hokage replied. Yes, but I don't think my Tamari can win against the Hyuga girl. However, I am confident that Gari will win against the blonde brat, even if he has the Sharingan, the Kazukage said. Like I said, I have faith in them. They are very talented young shinobi, the Hokage said. Due to this being a double bracket tournament, we will have Uzumaki Naruto versus Sabaku no Gari and Sabaku no Tamari versus Hyuga Hinata for the semi-finals, Haite explained. Uzumaki Naruto and Sabaku no Gar, please make your to the arena so we can begin the semi-finals, Haite called out, and they both shunshine to the arena. Gar used his sand, and Naruto used his lightning shunshin. Both fighters ready? Haite asked, and they both nodded. Begin. Arena. Naruto and Gar were standing a few feet from each other. Each one of them had emotionless faces as they eyed and studied their opponent. The proctor had already started the match, but neither of them moved, not wanting to make any mistake. Even though Gar knew that his sand would defend him, he somehow knew that Naruto was strong. Gar's mother aka Chibi or Shikaku had warned Gar to be careful around Naruto, since he was also a Jinchuriki, and had the Kyuubi the strongest of the 9 Biju. The silence in the arena was uncomfortable. There was no sound, no birds, no wind. The crowd itself was silent, watching what it was the most anticipated match since the first round. Want help? Kurama asked. No. I went to this on my own, I just need a refill, should I go empty? Naruto replied, making Kurama smirk at the devotion of his vessel and proving that he can be strong alone. Suddenly a small breeze lifted up and signaled the start of the match. Gar's sand slowly started leaving his gourd on his back and started dancing around him. Naruto saw the sand starting to move and jumped back to gain some distance. Both of them were ready for their fight. Gar already had his sand outside ready to crush our fellow blonde, and Naruto was watching it very carefully with his Sharingan blazing. Gar suddenly clutched his head in pain, making Naruto raise an eyebrow to why suddenly Gar would feel pain. It must be the chibi, Naruto thought as he watched Gar clutching his head trying to relieve his pain as best as he could. Just as it began, the pain suddenly stopped, and Gar slowly raised his head to show Naruto his face angry for blood. Prove my existence, Uzumaki, Gar shouted and sent forth a wave of sand towards Naruto, intending to crush him instantly. Naruto started evasive maneuvers, and he watched the sand splitting into various waves trying to outflank Naruto. However, Naruto's speed coupled with his Sharingan made sure Naruto could predict the path of each wave, making sure he would never be caught. It's a shame they removed the water from the previous match. Since I don't have affinity towards water, I can't use high-ranking moves without a water source nearby, Naruto thought as he kept dodging the sand. Let's see if his sand armor can keep up with me, Naruto thought as he disappeared in a burst of speed. Naruto quickly outmaneuvered the sand, and slipped through it by ducking, and sliding beneath the sand, and delivered a good right hook into Gar, sending him tumbling to the ground. Naruto watched as the sand that he used to attack quickly rushed to Gar to absorb his impact. Naruto also noticed that the sand armor around Gar's body itself was barely cracked, and had already reformed. That thing is hard, Naruto thought as he analyzed in minute detail Gar's sand armor, trying to find the best weakness. If he had the water, he would drench his sand with it, making it slower and more chakra, demanding. However, that wasn't the case. Naruto picked a few shurikens and threw them at Gar from multiple angles, but the sand quickly formed a round shell around him and blocked all of them. It seems that his sand is automatic, since some of the shurikens went to blind spots that Gar couldn't see, Naruto thought as he watched Gar drop his protective shield, making the shurikens fall to the floor. Let's test his strength, Naruto thought as he was about to pull his big guns to gradually try and penetrate his ultimate defense. Lightning style. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu, Naruto said, and he threw a single shuriken towards Gar, and they multiplied into dozens. However, differently from other times, these shuriken were charged with lightning chakra, and since lightning was strong against earth, it should work. Gar brought his sand to block the shurikens, but was surprised when they penetrated deeply into the sand, and he had to reinforce the wall of sand to keep the shurikens from hitting them. If they were made with chakra metal, they would have penetrated cleanly through his defenses, Naruto thought. Gar quickly dropped the shurikens into the ground and said, "Sand's bullets," and sent multiple small round spheres made of sand to Naruto at high speeds. Fire style. Great Fireball Jutsu, Naruto said, and expelled a fireball towards the incoming sand bullets, completely disintegrating them. Fire style. Dragon Fire Jutsu, Naruto said, and he flashed through hand seals and sent a stream of fire towards Gar, who used a wall of sand to shield the flames. The stream of fire collided with the sand wall, and the heat generated from the clash transformed the sand into crystal glass, effectively disabling the sand that was used to block Naruto's attack. Would you look at that? How come I didn't think of that? Naruto thought before he said to Gar, Chemistry 101, what happens when you superheat sand? Gar's eye twitched at the comment, but ignored it as he felt his mother yelling with excitement in his head as he tried to spill Naruto's blood to prove his existence. Gar sent his sand towards Naruto once again. I wonder what he can do once his sand is gone, Naruto thought as he thought about it. Since Gar always carried that gourd with him, so he should be limited to that amount. So Naruto could use his fire style to disintegrate or turn into glass his sand until here on out. Naruto once again disappeared in a show of speed and reappeared right behind Gar, surprising and making his sand unable to come to his defense. Lightning Fist, Naruto called out. Naruto channeled lightning chakra to his hand and delivered a massive punch to Gar's chest, completely destroying his sand armor, and managing to wound Gar to the point he almost broke one of his ribs. Crowd. Gar got hit hard, Temari said. During her short life, she never seen anyone manage to touch, or even wound Gar, with the exception of Naruto, who somehow always managed to sneak through his defenses. He did it during the preliminaries and he's doing it again now. This is bad, Temari, Kankuro said. I know, Temari replied. He might unleash it before the sound gives the signal, Kankuro said, but they couldn't do anything but to watch, as their brother was turned into punching bag. Wow, look at him go, Ino said. She could barely keep up with Naruto's speed. Naruto still had his weights on, but he was pumping his legs with chakra and was going too fast for most genin to track. After all, only speed could best Gar's sand defenses. Arena. Fire Style. Great Fireball Jutsu. Naruto set and expelled a fireball of gigantic proportions. It quickly collided with the sand waves that were coming towards Naruto and transformed into glass. Naruto quickly dashed to the glass and gave it a hard punch, completely shattering it. Naruto was about to unleash another jutsu when sand arms rose from underneath the ground and trapped Naruto by his ankles. Gar yelled as Naruto was quickly enveloped in sand. Sand coffin Gar set, and Naruto was completely covered in sand to the point he wasn't even visible to anyone. Sand funeral Gar set as he increased the pressure in his sand coffin, completely crushing Naruto. Yes, I proved my existence, Gar said, laughing evilly as seemingly crushed his biggest foe in his sand, spilling his blood to his mother. Naruto, Kurenai yelled from the balcony. Aside from her, everyone was silent, waiting for something to happen. Everyone was frozen in complete silence when Naruto's voice echoed from within the sand. Really, Gar? You know I'm better than this. Gar's eyes widened in shock as he watched Naruto very calmly walk out of the sand prison. The sand didn't even move as Naruto walked out, as if Naruto was nothing more than a ghost of the basic clone. It's time I got rid of your sand, Naruto said before he made 2 shadow clones, each one taking Naruto's side, one on the left and the other on the right. All 3 Narutos moved in perfect synchronization. Fire Style. Great Dragon Fire Jutsu, the clone set before expelling a massive torrent of fire towards Gar. This technique was a B rank one, and the improved version of the normal Dragon Fire one. Great Breakthrough. The original Naruto set from the middle of the clones, and sent a gust of wind that mixed with the fire and created what could only be described as an inferno. Gar stood in shock as he watched the fire come closer and closer towards him. That technique had a very long reach, and seemed to be really pumped with chakra. Tsunanotate, Sand Shield, Gar said, and all of his sand left his gourd and surround Gar, making a rather thin protective shell. It seemed that Gar already lost quite a bit of sand to Naruto's previous attacks. The fire clashed with the shield, and Gar disappeared from the audience view, as they could only see a torrent of fire completely enveloping Gar. Naruto ran out of air in his lungs and dropped his techniques to see Gar smirking inside a glass dome. Gar quickly shattered the glass and eyed the blonde. What can you do now without sand? Naruto asked. Full, Gar said before going through hand signs. Sand rain, Gar said, and strangely enough it started raining. However, instead of water it started raining sand, and a good deal of it. I can easily create new sand by compressing the mineral underground as well, and as long I have sand I can do anything, Gar said before restocking his supplies of sand and preparing to restart his attacks. Looks like destroying the sand is useless, Naruto thought, sighing as he realized all that work was for nothing. Kage Box. They're very skilled, the Raikage commented. But the Uzumaki brat seems to be in a pickle, the Raikage said. What makes you think that? The Hokage asked, confused. From the battle I noticed he tried to destroy the sand, but it seems that the sand brat can create more, the Raikage said, and they both turned to the Kazekage for an explanation. After all, the supposed 4th Kazekage was known for using his gold dust. It would be a very dangerous problem if we ran out of sand, so we had to find new ways to create it on the spot, the Kazekage explained. Interesting, the Raikage said. The amount of skill and jutsus they are throwing easily puts them in Jonin level in ninjutsu, the Kazekage said. It was expected from Jinchurikis, the Raikage said. Yes, the Hokage agreed. Crowd, how can they be so strong? Kiba asked. He didn't understand, he was from a clan, he trained every day, and he was ranked in the top during the academy days. Naruto had to grow up fast so he could shield himself from the hate he received, Kakashi explained. Besides, from what I understand, he read almost the entire library of Konoha, Kakashi said, and everyone had their eyes wide into the size of dinner plates. How is it even possible? Sakura asked. After all, Sakura was known by her book smarts. Simple. The Sharingan provides the user with photographic memory and Naruto can make hundreds of shadow clones, Kakashi explained. What do clones have to do with everything? Ino asked. Shadow clones are special. When they dispel everything that the clone learned is transmitted to the user. The shadow clone was originally created for scouting, Kakashi explained. That's amazing, Sakura said. She understood very well the ramifications of set jutsu. How come they don't teach us that in the academy? It sounds like a perfect jutsu, Sakura asked. Because it's a forbidden jutsu, Kakashi explained, and a few shivered at the thought of forbidden. The shadow clone takes great amounts of chakra to perform, and for most creating a single shadow clone can kill the user. Even me, who has chakra levels bordering on Kage level, can only create about 20 without suffering chakra exhaustion, Kakashi said. How in the hell can Naruto create so many? Kiba asked. Naruto was the more chakra than anyone in the village. I estimate he has around 4 to 5 times the amount of the Hokage and keeps increasing, Kakashi explained with a bit of pride. How in the world is that possible? Sakura asked. They were now understanding just how powerful Naruto really was. 2 reasons. He has so much chakra because he's an Uzumaki who were known to have massive chakra reserves. An ordinary Chunin had much chakra as a Kage. And the second reason is because he's a Jinchuriki. The Jinchuriki tend to develop large chakra reserves due to having the Biju's chakra running through their coils. Put those two together, and you have a chakra monster, Kakashi explained. Amazing, Sakura said, amazed by Naruto once again. That's pretty much it. I've rarely seen Naruto running out of chakra. I was already on the ground panting, and Naruto wasn't even sweating, Hinata said. Suddenly another person walked into the middle of the crowd and was the one and only Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, Sakura said, squealing in her traditional way. Her respect for Naruto may have increased, but she still remained faithful to the Uchiha. How are you feeling, Sasuke? Kakashi asked, but the scowl on Sasuke's face told him everything. You knew, didn't you? Sasuke asked almost rhetorically. Yes, I did, Kakashi flatly said. Then why didn't you say anything, Sasuke said, yelling. Because he asked me not to, and I wasn't going to betray a promise to someone no matter what. Besides, I did tell you, you knew his bloodline was well, you knew your own, Kakashi said, and Sasuke scoffed. What was one the first thing I taught you? Kakashi said, but Sasuke remained silent until Kakashi said, always look underneath the underneath. Sasuke simply crossed his arms and started cursing mentally at his sensei. Arena, this is the end, Gar said before going through hand seals. Sand tsunami, Gar called out, and a gigantic wave of sand erupted in front of him, going towards Naruto at high speeds. The wall of sand had the height of the arena walls and covered its entire width, leaving no room for evasion. It was a few seconds before the entire arena was covered in sand. Even the proctor had to leave the arena ground and made his way towards the crowd, as it seemed the safest place to be. Naruto was nowhere to be seen, and Gar thought his plan worked, and Naruto was trapped beneath all that sand. Giant sand burial, Gar said, and slammed both of his hands on the ground, and shock waves erupted from his palms and spread through the whole arena, shaking it. You are weak, Uzumaki, Gar said, taking a few deep breaths. His sand may be his absolute defense and best weapon, but pulling such amounts was rather chakra consuming. I told you not to underestimate me, Naruto's voice echoed through the whole arena like some disembodied voice. Gar was in shock as he watched Naruto swirling into appearance in front of him. The swirl seemed to be originating from his eyes. It was only a couple of seconds before Naruto was standing in front of him unharmed. Kage box. What in the world was that? The Kazekage said, shocked. That technique seemed like space-time ninjutsu. The blonde brat seemed to materialize himself on the arena. It looks like some form of like space-time ninjutsu, the Raikage thought out loud with his hand on his chin. Yurei Dono, the Raikage said, looking at the Toad Sage. You seem to always teach someone with talent for space-time ninjutsu, the Raikage said. Don't look at me, I didn't teach him that, Jiraiya said, waving his hands. And that particular technique seems strong as he didn't do any hand seals, the Raikage said. What is it with blondes and space-time techniques? The Raikage wondered out loud, making the Hokage chuckle. Arena. Naruto was running full speed with his gravity seals still on as he saw no need to disable them. He was running, and the sand was immediately after him, trying to stop him from reaching Gar, and at the same time trying to kill him once and for all. Naruto easily approached Gar and channeling lightning chakra to his fists, and Fidi started his onslaught on Gar. He threw a right hook, and it hit Gar, perfectly destroying his sand armor. Almost immediately Gar's sand tried to catch him, but only phased right through Naruto as he continued his attacks at Gar. What is going on? Gar asked in thought. He didn't understand. The sand wasn't able to grab hold of Naruto, and yet he continued to punch him like no tomorrow. Gar was reduced to a mere punching bag. Naruto was again ready to launch the next round of attacks. Naruto bypassed the sand and slid right under Gar, and gave him a kick in the chin, sending him to the air. Naruto quickly disappeared in a burst of speed, and appeared right behind Gar in the air, and gave him a drop kick filled with lightning chakra that completely destroyed his sand armor, and sent him to the ground hard. Gar hit the ground, and everyone could hear the crack of a few bones. It was loud and clear that Gar wasn't going to win this match. Naruto landed on the ground and jumped back a few feet so he could watch the state of Gar as the cloud of dust was settling. The dust cleared, and everyone could see Gar slowly rising, and the sand whirling around him, and reforming his sand armor around his skin. Gar's hand took the hand seal of Tiger, and the rest of the sand started enveloping itself around him, forming a solid cocoon of hardened sand. A few seconds later, a little bit of sand started gathering a few feet above the ground, and started taking the form of a small sphere. Moments later the sand stopped, and became a perfect eye that seemed to be watching Naruto, while Gar was inside the cocoon going through hand seals slowly, while saying them out loud. He's completely sealed off, Naruto thought out loud as he was considering what to do in order to breach the sand cocoon. Naruto decided not to waste chakra. It's not as if he was already getting low, but other weapons are still good. You can't always rely on ninjutsu after all. Naruto was calmly walking towards the cocoon and whistling along the way. He arrived near the cocoon and suddenly sand spear shot from the ball of sand trying to pierce the blonde, but he continued walking, as if it was nothing, and yet the spear's look embedded deep in Naruto. Naruto arrived near the cocoon and calmly went to his pocket and took 2 explosive tags. He placed them in his right hand and slipped right through the cocoon using his Kamui. Sand or no sand, it didn't matter what it was. Naruto's Kamui is a space-time technique, and as such isn't limited to such obstacles. Naruto's arm reached the inside and released both tags and walked back without a care in the world. When he was about 10 feet from the sand ball, he did a half-tiger sign with his right hand and said release. As he set the tags inside, the cocoon suddenly exploded, but the cocoon remained, but everyone could see the bulks in the sand sphere due to the explosion. And since Gar was inside, and the explosion couldn't leave, there wasn't much place to run or protect himself with, making Gar take the full force of the explosion. A few seconds after the explosion, the sand that made the cocoon started to shake and fall to the ground, revealing a slightly mutated Gar. His right arm was completely disproportional, and was made entirely of sand. Gar also had a sand tail on his back, and half of his face was sand, with his right eye being Shikaku's. All in all, it was a partial transformation of Gar's Biju. "Make me feel alive," Uzumaki Gar yelled as he slightly moved to test his new appearance. There was no sand on the ground of in his gourd, as it was used to his partial transformation, so the lack of sand would be a plus. "I guess it's time I pull it off," Naruto thought before channeling chakra to his storage seals, his wristbands, and pulled his favorite weapon. The weapon sounded as Naruto grabbed it by the handle with his right hand and rested it on the ground. It was a white fan with 3 blood red tomos on each side. It had a long handle with bandages wrapped around the base. The main part of the weapon was light brown with the edges being black. Flashback. Naruto was 9 years old, and was exploring his true house, the Namikaze compound, if you could call it that. In fact, it was a fairly big house built for harboring a medium family, or a couple intending to build one. Naruto was looking through the various rooms around the house, and started going down the stairs into the basement. When he arrived, he saw a lot of weapons. Swords, shurikens, daggers, hundreds of 3-pronged kunes, but from all of that there was one weapon that was standing out of all of them. Kurama, who was looking through his vessel's eyes, immediately recognized it. "Holy shit," Kurama said out loud, making Naruto jump from the sudden sound spike. "Damn," Naruto said, nursing his head. "Keep it down," Naruto said. "Do you even know what that weapon is?" Kurama asked. Naruto knew exactly what that weapon was, but he didn't seem particularly surprised by it. After all, his grandfather was known for using it quite extensively during his time. There, hanged in the wall, was Uchiha Madara's war battle fan. "It's my grandfather's trademark weapon, so what?" Naruto asked, clearly not understanding just what he had. "You feel that is no ordinary weapon," Kurama said, and seeing Naruto's confused face, he decided to elaborate. "Just listen," Kurama said, and entered his lecture mode. "You know the legend of the Sage of Six Paths, right?" "I did tell you about him a couple months ago," Kurama asked. "Yes, I remember," Naruto replied. "My father, Sage of Six Paths, as you know, had special eyes known as the Rinnegan, the eyes of the gods. He used the power of his eyes extensively during his lifespan. During his life he created the 9 Biju, that's why we call him father, understand so far?" Kurama asked, and Naruto nodded. However, that wasn't the only thing he created. During his life, Sage of Six Paths created a special set of tools and weapons he used. In total there were 6 tools, and that particular fan is one of them, Kurama said, and Naruto's eyes widened. "I see you understand the implications. For starters, those weapons are several times more powerful than any others. You can't even compare them. However, there is a downfall in those weapons. Anyone other than a direct descendant of my father, that is a Senju or a pure-blooded Uchiha, those weapons require massive amounts of chakra to use, and would kill a regular human just by them lifting the weapon," Kurama said, finished his explanation. "Awesome," Naruto said as he eyed the weapon. He would definitely learn how to use it properly. "Since I'm a pure-blooded Uchiha, I can use it without that heavy chakra usage, right?" Naruto asked. "Yes, also I forgot to mention that those weapons are pretty much indestructible, as they are made of a special metal that my father himself created," Kurama said. Naruto hesitantly placed his right hand on the hilt, and lifted the weapon from the wall holding it. It seemed as though it was made of metal. It wasn't particularly heavy, and it wasn't even draining Naruto of chakra, for now it seemed as nothing more than an ordinary weapon. As Naruto removed the fan from the wall, a piece of paper fell to the ground. Naruto bent over, and picked it up, and there was writing in it. "Minato, it's good to see that you are still alive and well. I heard you are making quite a name to yourself. I guess you will be next in line for the Hokage position. I'm proud of you. I've sent you my favorite weapon as a gift, since there is no Uchiha alive that can wield it properly besides you and me. Also, my time is nearing its end. Use it if you wish, but I guess that with me being your father, it would destroy your credibility if word would leak out. A word of warning, I still intend to bring peace to this world, and I hope we don't find each other in opposite paths. Good luck in your future, and never forget your origins. Your father, U.M." Naruto reread the letter several times, and still had trouble believing that it was a congratulating letter of some sort from Madara to his son. "Would you look at this?" Naruto said out loud, but nobody was listening except Kurama. "I may hate Madara for controlling me, but I guess in the end he still cared for his family, even though he clearly warned him," Kurama said as his respect for Madara grew a little bit. He still despised him, but at least he didn't forget his family. To Foxes there wasn't anything more terrible and demeaning than abandoning your own kin. "Do you think he would hurt his own son to achieve his goals?" Naruto asked. "How should I know? It's not like I knew Madara on a personal level," Kurama replied. "At least he's trying to bring peace to the world." "That can be a bad thing," Naruto mused out loud. "He said his time was short, so I guess he's truly dead," Naruto said as he picked the weapon and left the letter in the same place. It was the only thing he had that truly connected him to his grandfather. "I suppose," Kurama said. Then flashback. "Kage box. Is that?" the Kazekage asked when he noticed the weapon Naruto had pulled from his storage seal. There in Naruto's hand was the one and only war fan used by Uchiha Madara. "It is Uchiha Madara's war fan. To think I would see it again," the Hokage said, shocked that Naruto was in possession of said weapon. He knew very well that weapon since it was created by the Sage of Six Paths, and that it was a powerful tool. "I guess he was telling the truth, he really is Madara's grandson, to be wielding his legendary gunbai," the Raikage commented. Kumo had gathered all of Sage of Six Paths' tools, and they thought they had them all, but they didn't know that this fan was one of them as well. "That brat really is a gold mine," Orochimaru thought, salivating at everything he learned today. "Let's see if he can use it properly," the Raikage said. He knew a lot about Uchiha Madara. After all, the man was a legend, and hailed as one of the strongest shinobi to ever exist, being defeated only by Senju Hashirama. Even to this day both of them are claimed to be something above shinobi, as even the more skilled ones couldn't even compete against such foes. "Crowd, impossible," Sasuke said out loud as he watched Naruto grip Madara's gunbai. Looks like Naruto was telling the truth, he really is Madara's grandson. "It matters not, no one will stand in my way," Sasuke thought. "What is so special about that fan?" Sakura asked. She didn't know why that fan provoked such reaction from Sasuke. "Well, it isn't exactly taught in the academy, but that weapon is very well known among the older population. That weapon was Uchiha Madara's trademark weapon. He used it to blow away shinobi, by creating powerful gusts of wind. It may have other powers, but I only heard of that one. He also used it to power up his fire attacks to the point he could unleash a true inferno into his enemies," Kakashi explained, and Sasuke seethed his teeth. "That weapon should be in Sasuke's hand, so he could defeat his brother." "Unbelievable," Sakura said. Naruto seemed to be an endless pit of surprises. "Where did he get it?" "I know from history that Madara left the village," Sakura asked. "That I don't know," Kakashi replied while eyeing Hinata. Hinata sighed before she started explaining. It seemed that today she was the narrator in Naruto's story. It was a gift Madara sent to his son, and Naruto's father Hinata briefly explained, not wanting to go into much detail. "He had it all this time?" Kakashi asked to no one with eyes widened. He never in a million of years would have thought his sensei had possession of such weapon. He had been to his house several times but never saw it. Well, he never actually went to the basement for that fact. "I don't know what else to expect from the brat," Zabuza said, chuckling. He could never figure out the brat, no matter how hard he tried. "I'm sort of glad I didn't join this year's Chunin exams. I don't think I would stand a chance against such powerful opponents," Haku exclaimed. "Don't sell yourself short, Haku. You are very strong," Zabuza said. "Thank you, Zabuza-san," Haku replied. "Arena, let me show you my true power. No borrowed power, just me," Naruto stated out loud as his grip on his fan became stronger. "Sand bullet," the transformed Gaara said, and from his new sand body exploded dozens of small spheres of sand that went towards Naruto with groundbreaking speed. Naruto, using his Sharingan, calculated the bullet's path, and with a single swing of his fan, he completely destroyed the bullets, leaving no evidence of it. Naruto quickly made single-handed hand seals that he learned from Haku, and practiced it by using them in conjunction with his gunbai, as his fan occupied his right hand. "Fire style. Fire dragon bullet," Naruto called out and unlashed a massive torrent of white flames towards Gaara. Naruto, as he was unleashing his fire, he swinged his fan and said Fuden. Fan wind, and a powerful gust of wind emerged from his fan, powering his flames. That was Naruto's most powerful fire attack. An A rank attack, however this attack was powered by the fan's wind, easily making it jump to S rank. Gaara coiled himself with his tail protecting his head, and was engulfed in the flames, completely disappearing from view. Many people in the crowd, and even some of the shinobi, had to protect their eyes and avert their faces from the arena due to the amount of heat and light being generated from Naruto's attack. The proctor was considering if he would come out alive, and he wasn't even fighting. He was more concerned in running for his life, trying to get out of the way of the flames that seemed to engulf the whole arena. Enough, Gaara yelled and unleashed a roar that dispersed the flames around him, reveling a scorched Gaara but otherwise okay. It seemed that sand powered by Shukaku's chakra made it unable to transform in glass and be destroyed. Gaara dashed towards Naruto, cocking his mutated right arm, trying to punch Naruto. Naruto channeled chakra to his gunbai, and a semi-transparent circular barrier appeared in midair. Gaara's right arm connected with the barrier and a shockwave erupted, but the barrier didn't even waver or crack, and Gaara recoiled his arm in pain. See Manga 601. Wind Style. Infinite Sand. Great breakthrough. Gaara sat before multiple mouths formed all over his body, taking air in. They all breathed out at the same time and unleashed a powerful gust of wind filled with sand. Naruto pumped chakra into his fan and swinging it, Naruto created an equally powerful gust of wind that negated Gaara's attack. Naruto placed his fan in his back and secured it with chakra so she wouldn't slide off. Naruto immediately dashed towards Gaara, and everyone could hear electricity crackling in his hands as it sounded even stronger than the ordinary Chidori. Gaara brought his mutated arm to try and hit Naruto to disrupt his attack, but that didn't work as Gaara wanted it to. Lightning Blade. Naruto yelled, and infusing his right hand with lightning chakra, he continued his path towards Gaara, completely tearing through his arm and shoving his lightning blade trough Gaara's right shoulder, making him cry in pain as blood spattered to the ground. Crowd. Looks like Naruto can use that fan rather well, Zabuza said as he watched Naruto powering his flames using wind created by his fan, but also creating some sort of shield to block Gaara's punch. Yes, apparently that fan has more powers that I didn't know, Kakashi mused out loud as he watched the battle unfold. They watched the battle unfold when Naruto placed his fan on his back, and they heard a similar chirping like the Chidori. What's that? Sasuke asked as he had his Sharingan activated and tried to copy Naruto's technique. It looks like the Chidori, Sasuke stated. That's the upgraded version of my Chidori, Kakashi flatly said. What? There's a stronger version, why didn't you teach me that one instead? Sasuke asked, demanding answers. The lightning blade is an S-rank technique. You can only do the normal Chidori twice a day, and the lightning blade takes that same amount to perform. Meaning you might not have enough chakra to perform it, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke scowled. How the hell does Naruto has more chakra than me? During our fight he used a lot of jutsu, and look at him throwing jutsu like shurikens. How can he have so much? Sasuke asked, almost yelling. You can call it the Kekkei Genkai of the Uzumaki clan. Their members are born with unusually large chakra reserves. An ordinary Chunin has chakra that can rival Kage levels, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke scowled. If I told him he was a Senju, Sasuke would most likely faint. A Senju using the Sharingan, ironic, Kakashi thought. So he has two Kekkei Genkais? Sakura asked. The chakra reserves aren't considered a Kekkei Genkai, so he only has the Sharingan, Kakashi explained, and Sasuke muttered something about lucky dobes. Kage box. I don't think this can be considered an ordinary Chunin exams, the Raikage stated out loud. The amount of skill being used easily placed them in Jonin level. True, their skill is far beyond the regular Genin or Chunin for that matter, the Hokage agreed. And by the looks of it, it really is Madara's war fan. By seeing the amount of power he's using, the Raikage commented with his hand on his chin. The Kazekage kept silent through the whole conversation, and was considering when to signal the beginning of the invasion, since Gaara seemed to be in partial transformation, and could at any time unleash the full Biju. Arena. Blood, it's my blood, Gaara screamed in pain as he felt for the first time in his whole life the warmth of his blood. Suddenly the sand around rose to the sky and exploded in smoke. When the smoke cleared, it showed an 80 feet tall sand tanuki with one tail. It was a fully released Ichibi, also known as Shikaku. Naruto watched the tanuki in front of him very carefully. Suddenly all around the arena it started falling feathers from the sky. So it begins, Naruto thought as he placed his hands in the ram hand seal and set release, breaking the illusion. The invasion has begun, Naruto said as he prepared himself to face the fully unleashed Shikaku. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.